Gutted by the CCP virus, travel and tourism industry pleads for aid from Ottawa. While I was formally let go from my own job, just another reason to thank the CCP. This is the Great White North Report.
More expensive than the last. What's the fresh ways they have to waste our taxes fast?
Alright, last March, Canada's hotel industry was hammered by the CCP virus as it spread like wildfire through Canada and caused a lot of fears and concerns. Occupancy rates plummeted, hotels closed, cutting staff, and worse was yet to come, and it has. I happen to work for a major hotel chain. We were off since April 1st. The hotel industry crashed. This has a ripple effect with tourism and business. A lot of places that are more touristy were also closed down, and a lot of people lost their livelihood. Once hotels close and tourism shuts down, then it also impacts restaurants, and the occupancy dropped by 50% last March. Now, in some places, it went under 10%, and that's not enough to sustain business operations, and it's still true today. I actually went for a job interview as a night auditor at a fairly big hotel, and they're only sitting at occupancy of like 30 rooms. I think they have something like 200 rooms, so they're at 15%. They're not even using their banquet ballrooms, so they've lost business there. So their performance has definitely suffered, and this is July's numbers he was telling me. The hotel industry needs the government financial help, but whether they do or not, the government's helping all they can. The more they help, the more in debt we go as a country, and we'll never see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like I said, it's just another reason we should be thankful for the Communist Party of China for covering up the virus they released and spread around the world. So they were thinking there's going to be like 250,000 job losses because of this in the tourism industry alone, travel and tourism. We're not even talking airlines. Airlines will be hit just as bad. So this is why we can be thankful for the CCP virus and the way they've handled or bungled the outbreak from its earliest stages and coerced the World Health Organization to follow their narrative. They locked down Wuhan but didn't lock down the international airport. So a lot of people fled, got out and carried it with them. And this is what happened not too far from where I live. Marriott St. Thomas call center puts 230 people out of work. I've seen this call center from afar, and I know I had some friends that worked there once upon a time. They hire between 500 to 600 people. A lot of them work from home. I know one of my buddies who worked there, he worked from home for a while. He got let go back in June when they closed the center, but he's not too happy. Now, this used to be the Starwood Reservation Center or call center or CEC, whatever they want to call these things, and they booked hotel rooms for all the Starwood like Sheraton and Westin. Now they were bought by Marriott 4 years ago, and this is what happened. It was probably closed due to the CCP virus, and it has a great effect on a lot of people. Same is true in Calgary. Hotel industry reveals historically low occupancy levels. Calgary Stampede was basically shut down. The CFL is shut down. Edmonton and Toronto got a little bit of a boost with the NHL having their hub cities. But according to, in Calgary, it's 25% they're sitting at. Some hotels will be doing well, especially those in the northern regions. People going outdoor stuff, they will do well. That seems to be the big thing right now, is to be outdoors, away from people. But the inner cities, no, they're not going to be doing so well. And they don't expect to see occupancy to rise above 30% until the end of the year. So 2020 is basically shot to hell. Nova Scotia, hotels plummeted amid the pandemic. I have an aunt that lives in Halifax, and she says it's pretty bad along the waterfront in Halifax. There's no cruise ships docking anymore. There's not a lot of flights coming in, and summer is their busiest time of year. And there are thousands of hotel staff there who are now unemployed. Most hotels have laid off pretty much 90% of their staff. This trickles down to the restaurants and tourist sites. So go back to the original question. There's been massive layoffs, bankruptcies without government-backed loans and wage subsidies. Can the government bail them out? They might be able to bail out some, but not all. Now everyone says, well, you shouldn't bail out the big guys. Well, you got to remember, a lot of these hotels that are owned by local business people who purchase the franchise rights to that name, to a particular name, such as. And then there's the operated. So the operated ones are operated and owned by the actual parent company, and they're franchised the way they are. But most of the hotels are owned by local people, and then they get the franchise, the name. Anytime they can be kicked out from the parent company if they underperform and if they're not up to code. Those who are owned by local people, they're losing a ton of money, and a ton of people are being laid off. So you're looking at revenue losses up to 70 to 90%. And a lot of these hotels have conference rooms, banquet halls, so weddings and stuff like that. Graduations, coming up Christmas parties. They're not going to be able to do that because as of now, they're only allowed to have 50 people in a hall. That's not very big. That's not very many people. There are restaurants. They're out sitting out in the parking lot when they have the space. That's going to work for now, but it's not going to work in the winter when it gets colder. The hotel industry is going to collapse if there's no help. A lot of hotels are on the brink. The hotel industry alone represents more than 8,000 hotels, motels, and resorts in Canada, which employ more than 300,000 Canadians and contribute about $10 billion in taxes to all three levels of government. So they want a government-backed loan program to help hotels survive. And they also want commercial rent assistance program to cover 3 months of mortgage payments. So it's up to the government whether they want the hotel industry to collapse or not. Like I said, I used to work for one of the big chain hotels, and I just received word that I was being let go after 9 years. Out of my department of 30 people, 15 of us were let go, and so that just makes me love the CCP that much more. And it's been a long time since I stayed at a hotel. Usually I stayed at a lot of hotels over the years. This is probably the first year I haven't stayed at one yet. So with hopefully the hotel, it'll bounce back next year, and we'll see what we can do. But anyway, Canadians out there, let me know what do you guys think. Should we save the hotel industry? Have you guys stayed at a hotel lately? And what can we do moving forward? Until next time, this has been the Great White North Report.